Silent Tech Sabbatical. 24 hours without tech equals radical reset. What if I told you that the most powerful reset button for your mind isn't an app, a pill, or a program, but actually the complete absence of technology for just 24 hours? Today, I'm taking you on a journey through my Silent Tech Sabbatical, where I disconnected from every screen, notification, and digital distraction to reconnect with something far more profound: myself. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. We've become so tethered to our devices that we've forgotten what it feels like to exist in pure, unmediated reality. But what happens when we break that chain? What emerges from the silence is setup. Last Friday at 6 p.m., I powered down my phone, closed my laptop, and unplugged my Wi-Fi router. No screens, no notifications, no digital crutches. Just me, my thoughts, and the analog world I'd almost forgotten existed. I had 3 simple tools: a paper journal, a pen, and an intention to discover what lay beneath the constant digital noise. The first hour was brutal. My hand reached for my phone 17 times. Phantom limb syndrome for the digital age. But as the evening settled in, something remarkable began to happen. Hour 1 to 6. The withdrawal. The initial panic was real. That anxious feeling when you can't find your phone. Multiply that by 6 hours. My brain kept generating urgent tasks that required my phone. I needed to check the weather, look up that actor's name, respond to that text. But here's what I discovered. None of it was actually urgent. I sat with the discomfort instead of medicating it with digital stimulation. I opened my journal and wrote, "I'm experiencing FOMO for my own life. The life I'm actually living right now." The irony wasn't lost on me. I was afraid of missing out on notifications about other people's lives, while missing out on my own present moment. Hour 6 to 12 was settling. As night fell, something shifted. Without screens emitting blue light, my circadian rhythm began to recalibrate. I lit candles, made tea, and for the first time in months, I read a physical book. The pages felt foreign under my fingers, rough, imperfect, real. I wrote in my journal. My attention span is returning. I can feel it stretching like a muscle I'd forgotten I had. Instead of consuming content, I was creating thoughts. Instead of reacting to notifications, I was responding to my own inner voice. The quality of my sleep that night was extraordinary. Without the usual pre-sleep scroll, my mind wasn't buzzing with digital residue. I fell asleep to the sound of my own breathing, not the hum of charging devices. Hour 12 to 18. The awakening. I woke up without an alarm, my body's natural rhythm intact. The morning felt different, expansive. Without immediately reaching for my phone, I experienced what I can only describe as a luxury of presence. The morning light wasn't competing with a screen for my attention. I went for a walk without podcasts, without music, without any audio input except the world itself. The silence wasn't empty, it was full of bird songs I'd been missing. The sound of wind through trees, the rhythm of my own footsteps. I realized I'd been living in a constant state of divided attention, never fully present to any single experience. The meditation deepens. With no digital distractions, meditation became effortless. Instead of fighting against the urge to check notifications, I was able to drop into stillness naturally. I sat for 45 minutes, longer than I'd meditated in years. Without the constant stimulation of technology, my nervous system finally had permission to rest, I wrote. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of peace in that silence. Insights arose that had been buried under layers of digital noise. Creative ideas, solutions to problems, and a clarity about what truly mattered in my life. Hour 18 to 24. The integration. The final stretch brought integration. I wasn't just abstaining from technology, I was actively choosing presence. I cooked a meal with complete attention, tasting each ingredient, feeling the texture of vegetables under my knife. I called my grandmother from a landline, an act that felt both ancient and revolutionary. The conversation was different. Without the option to multitask, I was completely present to her words, her stories, her laughter. I realized how much of my communication had become performative, optimized for content rather than connection. the profound shifts. By the end of 24 hours, I had experienced what I can only call a radical reset. My relationship with time had shifted. Without the constant fragmentation of notifications, ours felt spacious rather than rushed. I had accomplished more meaningful tasks in one day than I typically did in 3. My capacity for boredom had been restored, and with it, my capacity for creativity. In the spaces where I would normally reach for my phone, new ideas emerged. Problems that had seemed complex suddenly had clear solutions. I remembered what it felt like to be alone with my thoughts without feeling lonely. The neuroscience behind the magic. What I experienced wasn't just psychological, it was neurological. Constant digital stimulation keeps our brains in a state of hypervigilance, releasing stress hormones and preventing the deep rest necessary for creativity and insight. A tech sabbatical allows our default mode network, the brain's screensaver, to activate, leading to breakthrough moments in self-reflection. Studies show that even the mere presence of a smartphone reduces cognitive capacity by 10%. We're literally thinking less clearly when our devices are nearby. The tech sabbatical gave my brain permission to operate at full capacity for the first time in years. The lasting impact. Returning to technology after 24 hours felt like putting on clothes that no longer fit. I had grown in those hours of silence, and my old digital habits felt constrictive. I established new boundaries. No phones in the bedroom, designated tech-free hours, and a weekly mini sabbatical every Sunday morning. The most profound realization? I had been living in a state of continuous partial attention, never fully present to any single experience. The tech sabbatical wasn't just a break from devices, it was a return to myself, your challenge. I challenge you to try your own tech sabbatical. Start small, maybe just for hours, or from sunset to sunrise. Notice the resistance, sit with the discomfort, and document what emerges from the silence. You might discover, as I did, that the most important conversations happen when you're not talking to anyone at all. The digital world will always be there when you return. But the insights, the peace, and the clarity you gain from stepping away, those are treasures that no technology can provide. Your mind is not a machine to be optimized. It's a garden to be tended. Sometimes the best way to tend it is to simply let it rest. If this video inspired you to reconsider your relationship with technology, hit that like button and let me know in the comments about your own experiences with digital detoxing. Have you tried a tech sabbatical? What did you discover about yourself in the silence? If you're ready to dive deeper into building genuine mental wealth, not just digital productivity, but actual psychological richness. Make sure to subscribe to Mental Wealth and ring that notification bell, because while we're stepping away from unnecessary notifications, you definitely want to be notified when we drop new content that could transform your relationship with your mind. Remember, your attention is your most valuable asset. Invest it wisely. Until next time, this is Mental Wealth, reminding you that sometimes the most connected you can be is when you disconnect from everything else.